Okay, it's time to have a serious discussion about Dogecoin. Doge is up 12,000% since January, which is, are you ready for this? More than the gains of the S&P 500 all the way from 1988 until now. To put that into perspective, an investment in Doge of just $1,000 back in January would now be worth over $120,000. Okay, who wants a time machine? But seriously folks, we are at a crossroads here. We have to decide if Dogecoin is nothing but a joke meme coin, or does it have the potential to be something more serious? More importantly, we have to talk about how high it can go and if it's too late for you to jump in and make some money. So in honor of Doge, hit that like button and let's get into it.
Subscribe.
All right, I'm not gonna waste any time. I think it's safe to say right now that Doge is no longer a joke. And it's some kind of sweet irony too, right? I mean, what started out as a cryptocurrency parody is now quickly becoming a serious representation of the very thing it was designed to mock. Doge has had such a meteoric run that it is now the 4th largest cryptocurrency in the world, having a market cap of $91 billion. Few people would have expected that, but man, is it intriguing. After all, as a society, don't we love a good underdog story? Or should I say, under Doge story? Okay, I'll let myself out. So how did we get here? Well, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. One word, hype. That's how, yep, mostly hype. Reddit, Twitter, posts from Elon Musk. These are some of the biggest drivers of its growth right now. And as we speak, Elon Musk is set to appear on Saturday Night Live, where many speculate he will say something about Doge during his appearance. This may cause the price of Dogecoin to surge even further toward the moon. But hype alone is not enough for any cryptocurrency to survive. There must be utility. That's to say the coin must have some sort of real-world actual purpose. But cryptocurrency in general is still very much in its infancy. We haven't even scratched the surface yet of its full potential. The world is sort of waiting to see it unfold. And we are waiting to see how any of this is going to apply in meaningful ways. So let's speculate for a moment, shall we? Perhaps Bitcoin can become a mainstream store of value, a digital gold, if you will. And Ethereum can become the way we handle trades of tangible things by acting as a trusted escrow for the purchase of high-value items. This can happen through smart contracts for everything from art to real estate. In fact, many things could be settled using Ethereum. And maybe, just maybe, Dogecoin could become our everyday transactional spending currency, a perfect fiat currency replacement as a medium of exchange. After all, it's quick from a transactional perspective, a lot quicker than Bitcoin. In fact, Dogecoin transactions are about 10 times faster than Bitcoin. And we need speedy transactions if we're going to use a cryptocurrency for everyday purchases. We can't be waiting in line at the grocery store for the blockchain ledger to clear the purchase. I mean, come on, man. Another specific thing I like about Dogecoin are the very low transaction fees. Dogecoin transaction fees are much lower than Bitcoin or Litecoin. Dogecoin transaction fees usually start at about 0.007 of a cent. Dogecoin actually has a lot of built-in functionality that could make it a very good fit for our everyday lives. More on that in a bit. Can you imagine comparing everything to Dogecoin instead of the dollar?
Excuse me, how many bitcoins can I purchase with 800 Doge?
This just in, Apple stock has reached an all-time high of 215 Doge per share.
Keyboards would have to replace the dollar symbol with a Doge symbol. Now that would be cool. However, one of the biggest arguments I hear against Doge is that it has an inflationary supply. And because of this, it will always be losing value.
But the reality still remains. 10,000 new Dogecoin enter circulation every single minute as an inflationary currency.
Okay, I get it. There are 5.2 billion new Dogecoins each year, but that doesn't tell us as much as it seems like it does. I mean, it sounds like the Dogecoin supply year after year is just going to flood itself with new Doge, making it impossible for the value to ever stabilize. But is this really the case? Let's consider this for a second. According to Google, there are 127 billion Dogecoins in circulation right now. That's kind of the total size of the Dogecoin pile. And each year, 5.2 billion new coins are added to the pile, like a little scoop added to the top of the pile. Well, that little scoop, the 5.2 billion, is about 4.3% the size of the entire Dogecoin supply. Another way to think of this is in order to maintain the current Dogecoin prices 1 year from now, the demand for Dogecoin will have to increase by 4.3% versus current demand. 1 year from now, there will be 132.2 billion Dogecoins. Since each year, there is a consistent 5.2 billion new Dogecoins created, so 127 billion plus 5.2 billion new coins equals 132 billion Dogecoins. But get this, the 5.2 billion next year is only about 4.1% the size of the total pile, down from the 4.3% that it was this year. Even though we added exactly the same amount, 5.2 billion, relative to the size of the total pile, it's smaller. Here, look at this chart. This chart shows the relative inflation rates of Dogecoin over time. At first you can see the curve is steep, but it starts to flatten out as time goes on. In other words, the inflation rates of Dogecoin improve over time. You don't hear a lot of people talking about that. It's almost magical because the inflation rates need to be higher during the mass adoption phase. This to keep the price from being even less stable than it already is. But as more and more people adopt Doge over time, the inflation rates will move toward a more sustainable level. And actually, it'll be just enough inflation to keep people spending their coins, which is a perfect feature for a digital coin that is intended to be currency. Even if demand were only to continue to rise equal to world population growth, which is about 1.1%, Doge will reach parity with this target around the year 2080. Which I know, it's further in the future than most of us probably care to think about, but it does show the potential for long-term sustainability. Which leads me to another thing I hear people say. It sounds like this.
Did you know a single wallet controls about 28% of all Dogecoins?
Don't get me wrong, I get why people are saying this. The idea is to be cautious about investing in Doge because a few players could greatly swing the price downward with a single sell-off. However, it's speculated that the single wallet controlling 28% of Doge is the Robinhood account, where they are buying Doge and holding it on behalf of all Robinhood customers, which I do admit sounds a little less sinister than a single person rubbing their hands together and waiting to cash in at everyone's expense. Or maybe it's just Elon Musk's wallet that he named Future Currency for Mars Civilization. And don't get me started on the all too famous discussion about bubbles. Most of the Dogecoin gains have happened rapidly over the last 4 months or so. This has many people wondering, has the fund turned into a risky bubble that could burst and leave many people holding the bag as the price comes tumbling down? Speculative bubbles are real, and they have happened over and over throughout history. And looking at the Dogecoin chart, this certainly does look how it would look if this were the start of a massive bubble. Although if we consider our alternatives, everything appears to be in a bubble. From real estate to the S&P 500, there is almost no investment that doesn't appear to be suffering from asset price inflation. And a lot of this is being driven by something called the Cantillon effect, which I explain in detail in another video. I'll link it below. But the basic idea is that almost every dollar in the money supply was created recently. Just look at this chart, which strangely they have discontinued updating. Wonder why? It shows the drastic increase in the money supply. Most of this new money has gone right into driving asset prices upward, and many fear the impending price inflation of everyday goods and services is about to get much worse. So people are scrambling to grab onto any assets which can be used as flotation devices to ride the tide when the sea of inflation comes rolling in. So am I saying that Dogecoin is locked and loaded and currently on a one-way trajectory to the moon? No, not exactly. There remain quite a few hurdles in the way of mainstream adoption. For one thing, although Dogecoin is fast, it's not nearly fast enough to meet our expectations. For example, Dogecoin can process about 40 transactions per second, which is way better than the 3 to 4 transactions per second of the Bitcoin network, but still a long shot from the 65,000 transactions per second the Visa network can process. For some perspective, if every American were trying to use Dogecoin as their medium of exchange, there would be enough bandwidth for each person to make one transaction every 3 months. Yeah, that's not gonna work. However, this is not a firm limit of Doge. Perhaps it can be solved with some continued technical development, which at the moment is unclear if anyone is addressing or not. All of this aside, the main thing that Doge needs to unlock the full potential is more adoption and more practical use cases, both of which in a sense are the same thing. For example, if Apple and PayPal would start accepting payments using Doge, it wouldn't be long until retailers follow by allowing more and more stuff to be purchased using Doge. Imagine if Amazon suddenly allowed Dogecoin to be used for online purchases. These kinds of moves would explode the demand for Doge, and the 70 cent per coin price that we're seeing right now would seem incredibly cheap. As Andre Jick likes to say, you got any of them 70 cent Dogecoins laying around? Although as fun as it is to think about this, there is no indication that anything like this is going to happen anytime soon. But who knows what the future holds? After all, stranger things have happened. So let's get to the most important question. Should you invest in Dogecoin? There is certainly potential for Dogecoin to keep going up despite what people are saying. Some people say by nature Dogecoin can never survive due to its inflationary supply. This will cause it to inherently and quickly return to zero. I believe that to be simply false. However, there is no guarantee either that it will continue to rise. It's on very fragile footing at the moment, and one sideways step could cause a chain reaction of panic selling, leaving investors who hold with some big losses. Of course, there are some who will tell you that crypto only crashes upward. To them I say, well, keep holding. My plan is to hang on to my crypto and dollar cost average into it slowly. I have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge, and I will not be putting anything in that I am not afraid to lose. Because truthfully, nobody knows what will happen, but I think it's worth it to have a little something in the crypto bucket just to be part of the fun. You have to decide what is right for you and your financial plan. But if you want to be a part of the action, I say use caution. Develop your plan in advance, only invest according to plan, and don't allow yourself to FOMO. These are some of the best things you can do when investing in anything really, but especially cryptocurrencies such as Dogecoin. If you enjoyed this video, please right now just hit the like button. We need to get more people seeing these videos. The YouTube algorithm has me duct taped and tied up in the YouTube dungeon. Help me break out of here by clicking the like button. And subscribe. Maybe even share with a friend. Until next time, you guys are awesome.